That's right, folks. Steel is not a luxury material. Steel is not a luxury material. Both those items you see on the screen, I purchased at Little Treasury Jewelers. The 002 is on my wrist right now, the 002 Stunner and the Faux Pay Stunner. Here we go. We're sporting them both. Oh, one moment. Hey, Google, turn on living room lights. Folks like those lights on in the background, so if we got to turn those back on. I've got the little ticker going across. Little Treasury event is October 8 and 9. That's going to be here before you guys know it. October 8 and 9. Put it on your calendar. Plan to attend. If you can't come in person, we will try to do a live stream from there. Steve has always had issues with his live streams, but we're going to try to do it right this time. So there you go. That's what we're looking at, those dates for the Little Treasury event. Now I'll go ahead and remove that ticker so we don't leave that irritating ticker on all day like we often do. And so, yeah, gold stunners, and we got to dress up a little bit for that event, folks. We're going to dress up a little bit for that event, hopefully. And so we've got Kyle in the house. He may be there. And Durr's in the house. Hopefully he will make it. He's been to one of Steve's events. Hopefully he'll make it. And he says Tudor sucks. It's just a pass on the Tudor thing. We'll pass on the whole Tudor thing, and we can talk about that. Lance is in the house, and he gives us always some great alternatives to Tudors. He sends in some great alternatives to Tudors. He sent one in the other day. This one. He sent that one in the other day. That would be a great alternative to a Tudor. Now, it's a little more money than most Tudors, but it's 18 karat gold, folks, and it's a Rolex. It's 18 karat gold, and it's a Rolex. 2 thumbs up for both of those things. Steel is highly overrated, in my opinion. Steel, back in the day when we were buying watches, you bought the steel Rolex because you couldn't afford the gold one. You didn't buy it because it was a luxury material. You didn't buy it because it was a much sought after collectible. I mean, you bought it because you were wearing it and you wanted a Rolex and you wanted to wear a nice watch and you couldn't afford the gold. I mean, that was the reason why you bought the steel watch. I watched another episode of The Timepiece Gentleman, and seeing the fervor that is going on now over these steel watches, these steel stunners, and the amount of money that people are paying for these things. And I believe that those videos are not scams. I believe those are real deals that are being made, and people are actually paying that kind of money for some of these steel stunners. It has to tell me that a crash is coming. It has to tell me that we're getting to the super hype phase of a bubble. And when this thing comes crashing down, it's going to be pretty wild. It's going to be pretty wild. It could be 3 or 4 years from now. It could take a while. It could happen in 6 months. We don't know. You never know when something like this is going to collapse and come cascading down. You just don't. And Jaden's in the house. He said, what's the thought on the crash again? Every other watch expert on YouTube says it can only go up and never go down again. Yeah, and whenever we start hearing this type of thing, those should be warning signals to those who are sitting on a bunch of watches. If somebody just has one watch and they wear it, it shouldn't be a big issue, right? The value of that watch. I mean, it really shouldn't. I mean, if you can't afford a luxury watch, you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. But if somebody is sitting on 4 or 5 watches as, quote, investments, they've got them in their safety deposit box, and they've got like all their kids' college funds tied up in Daytonas, that strategy could end up being an issue. Jen's is in the house. Hello, Craig, and hello, gents. Happy Friday. Yes, it is Friday. I wanted to get a show in before the week was over with, and Carlos is in the house, and hopefully Carlos can join us live on the show from the poolside. Stig's in the house. He says good evening, and Kyle says, I hope everyone is able to make it to Steve's event. Yes. And Kyle, did you look at the information about Frederick.com? Did you look at that? What did you think? Hey, young people need to take the bull by the horns and seize opportunities and make the most of them. The opportunities are out there, and when you stumble across one, you've got to make the most of it. That's what I say. Yes. I'm going to be at Steve's RSVP already. Jaden in the house. He's going to be there. Carlos is planning on being there. And let's see. The reason I no longer predict a crash in the steel Rolex market is because the dollar is crashing. The price for Rolex in dollars will probably keep rising. Do you think this could? Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about relative value. I'm talking about, yeah, obviously everything's going to keep going up. But what I'm saying is relative to other things, the Rolex market is severely overheated in my estimation. So it still is due for a pullback. In other words, it was way overheated even before the big time money printing and everything that's going on. And so I think it's going to have more of a comeuppance. I mean, so you would really have to compare it to the value of the Rolex in gold. You could probably use gold as a benchmark, or Bitcoin. You could use Bitcoin as a benchmark. So its relative value when compared to something like that, gold or Bitcoin, that value is going to crash. Okay. The fiat price might still be the same, right? But that fiat won't buy anything, won't buy any gold, won't buy any Bitcoin, right? So we have to compare it to something solid like gold or Bitcoin. And relative to those things, I think it will have a big adjustment. Carlos says he's not in the pool. I have some workers refinishing the pool deck. Well, keep on top of them, keep on top of them. You got it. You got to keep the workers in line. You got to keep the staff in line at the estate. So do that. Well, that's not. Don't you hate when that happens? When you drink it down the wrong pipe. Whoa. Okay. So you put your arms over your head, and that's supposed to fix that. I don't know if it really does. So I was getting ready to read John's comment. There will not be a crash. The waiting lists are years long in some places. I think that's what made me choke. It doesn't matter how long the waiting lists are. The reason the waiting lists are there is because of the hype and because people are hoarding them. If all of a sudden people stop hoarding them and people start panicking and selling, there won't be any waiting lists anymore. It'll go back to the way it used to be when you could just walk in and buy one. And that's the way it always used to be. This is abnormal. See, people that have not been in the Rolex game very long, they think this is normal. This is abnormal. This has only been the last, 5 or 6 years this has been going on. This is a relatively short-term thing. So it's going to return back to normal. And when it does, it's going to be pretty serious. The only thing that has crashed in the USA with Biden as its blind leader. Yeah, what a fail. Why in the world didn't they start evacuating people from there a year ago? Why would they wait until the last minute to start pulling people out? Why haven't they been doing that for a year? Or if they figured it would have taken 2 years to do it, why haven't they been doing that for 2 years? And Americans that are still there, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's on them. That was really poor judgment. You better have been making a lot of money to be risking staying there up until this point in time. I did look into it, Craig. I hope we can speak more specifically about it in person. I plan to come to Steve's event. Cool. Okay. And Carlos is in the house. Someone call 112. Man, I do this more often than I would like. I'll take a drink and I'm not paying attention or something, and it just doesn't go down right. So that's the downside to drinking water live on a show. And I don't have a cough button. I don't have a mute button for my audio. So I hope you guys were able to turn down your audio. Let's see. Okay, I hope it's not the thing. Yeah, I think I might. I think I've had the thing like 4 or 5 times. I think I've had the thing. So yeah, that could be the thing. Uh, Craig, I think you should sell me the Durwood estate. There you go, John in the house. Make a reasonable offer. Make a reasonable offer. That place has gone up in value a lot because it is right near the Shady Grove Metro. It's walking distance from the Shady Grove Metro, yet it has 2 acres of land. So it's about there's only about a half dozen or so estates like that that are that close to the metro station. So if you want a metro station to get down into downtown DC, let's say you're one of the Beltway bandits that needs to get into downtown DC, if you want to use that transportation system and you want a acreage, you want a couple of acres, there are only a few places to choose from. And so one of them is the Durwood estate. That's correct. The waiting list are because the flippers, you can basically buy any Rolex you like if you pay the piper. That's not scarcity. Jaden in the house. I think that, well, and also I mean, they are sought after and people are paying a premium and all that. And I think it's because people are buying more watches than they typically would. Back in the day, it was not common for somebody to buy 5 or 6 steel watches, right? If they had that kind of money, they bought a gold watch. They bought a day-date or something, right? They bought something decent. They didn't buy 5 or 6 steel watches. This is abnormal, folks. I'm telling you, there is no justification for people owning that many steel watches. I don't care if it's a Patek, a Rolex, or whatever. If you own a half a dozen steel watches, there's something wrong with that picture. Okay, that's enough money to buy an actual gold decent watch, right? And then wear that. Ultraman is in the house. Dur's in the house. 112, what's that? A AAA roadside assistance. Oh, I had a I had a discussion with somebody in one of the RV forums that I'm a member of for the actually for the people that convert ambulances into RVs, right? And so somebody was asking about where they could mount their spare. Could they mount their spare tire up on the roof of the cab, and would it be able to handle the weight and all this stuff? And I simply suggested, I said, well, what tires are so good these days and so forth. I haven't had a flat myself in like 25 years, right? The last time I had a flat tire was like 25 years ago. Of course, I always keep good tires on my cars. I'm careful where I drive, etc. But anyway, flats are not that common anymore. I said, why not just use roadside assistance? Why not have a good roadside assistance plan that you sign up for, AAA, whatever, and just have the roadside assistance come and fix your tire. I mean, that's what big trucks do and all. They don't carry a whole bunch of spare tires and stuff. Uh, there comes a time when it's not really practical to have a big, heavy spare tire and a jack to lift that thing up, because those ambulances are heavy. You need a decent, heavy-duty jack. It's somewhat dangerous to be doing that on the side of the road anyway. I just suggested, hey, maybe it's not worth it to go through all that. Maybe just use roadside assistance. And man, these people came back in. Oh my God, it could be a life and death situation. You've got to have a spare tire, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. I've never had a life and death situation. If I got a flat, I mean, you get a flat, you get it fixed. Now, if you were rushing a pregnant woman to the hospital or something, I guess that could be a thing, but hopefully you're somewhere where you can flag down a police officer or something, or get her to the hospital. I don't know. Am I crazy, folks, to say that maybe a spare is not necessary on something like that? Is that just crazy talk? 911. Craig, we are in a new generation. The hype is unreal, and young people are still spending money on luxury at an insane rate. They will use credit and don't care. They want the fake prestige. Yeah, but I think that that's going to run its course. I think they're going to get overextended, and it's going to come to a point where they won't be able to keep doing that. And if the speculators start selling because they sense that the market is peaking, that's when it all starts triggering it, right? Some of them start selling, and then the market starts going down, then other people start selling, and then everybody starts kind of panic selling. That's when you get a crash. So I think that's what we're going to see play out here. We'll see. Okay. I had the heebie-jeebies last year around Christmas. Durr's in the house. I've had the thing 4 or 5 times too. Needless to say, I've had those girls over for the night again, and a couple penicillin pills cure everything up. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. John's in the house. I've been offered a 126-300 stainless oyster smooth bezel. Okay, stainless oyster, smooth bezel, gray dial, white baton. Should I buy? John, can you send a photo? Let me try to pull it up. Hold on a second here. 126-300. This is why it's better if Brianna's here, because she can help me with this. Okay, so it looks like it looks like that model is a Datejust, and a smooth bezel, gray dial. Yeah, see, I'm not a big fan of the smooth bezel on the Datejust. I would take that. I wouldn't take a Datejust 41, by the way. I'm not a fan of the 41. So maybe we got a problem right there on the size. The 41s to me they just look funny. I would much rather have just a 36 mil Datejust, but I would get one with the Jubilee and the fluted bezel. Definitely. The smooth bezel, for one thing, every little scratch is going to show like crazy. And I'm not that concerned with scratches on watches, but why invite them? Why not get the fluted bezel doesn't show any scratches, and the Jubilee also doesn't show scratches. If you get the Oyster, it's got the polished center links, which also show every little scratch. So the watch to get on a Datejust, in my opinion, is just a Datejust 36 mil with the Jubilee with the fluted bezel, and that's a lifetime watch. That's a do everything, go anywhere lifetime watch. Now, if you have a really big wrist, 7.5 inches or bigger, then you go ahead and go for the 41. I guess that's okay. But I just think that's a funky looking watch. I just didn't really like that size when I saw one. And Bree says, hello, everyone. And from my AD at retail, I don't think it's a bad buy. What do you experts think? Well, again, I mean, if you can get it at retail, but I just wouldn't get that model. It just wouldn't be what I would get. You know, so yeah, I would see if they can get you the watch I just described. Let's see here. Two things I don't deal with: flat tires and flat women. Although I may have a spare tire, I always have a spare lady around. Yeah, and the thing is, I don't even know. My spare tire in my Prius is buried under so much stuff, I wouldn't even know how to get it out. So I don't know, and it's one of those temporary spare things anyway. But on a little Prius like that, it's much easier. The jack is real light duty. It's real easy to jack it up, and you know, you're talking about a medium duty ambulance or an F450 ambulance, something like that. Those tires and wheels are heavy. You got to have a heavy jack to jack them up. You know, the jack's going to like sink into the ground depending on where you are. I mean, it's just going to be a cluster. You know what? John's in the house. Social media and the Apple Watch have really introduced a lot of young people to Rolex and new watch boom. Young kids are buying them in droves. Yeah, it's a fervor. It's a fervor. But I think that we're going to see the comeuppance on a lot of this. Some luxury cars don't have a spare tire. That's correct. Why carry all that weight around? There's an app, Voyager, to buy and earn 5% interest a year in Bitcoin on it. I thought it was monthly. It pays 5% APR Bitcoin interest. Yeah, we have to look at some of those things, though, but we have to be very, very careful if you are letting a third party custody your Bitcoin. Remember, that Bitcoin is now at risk. It's really not controlled by you. It's controlled by that third party. And if they go belly up or they have an exit scam, your Bitcoin is gone. Now, I have said that I have Bitcoin on deposit with BlockFi, and I had substantially more on deposit than I have now because they've lowered their interest rates. And so I've withdrawn quite a bit of my Bitcoin from them. And I've posted about it on Twitter. But I still have some with them, and I have some cash with them that's getting a pretty good return on interest. So they convert it to a stable coin, right? But some of these other third parties, like even crypto.com, some of these others, we've really got to research them and see how comfortable you are with them custodying your Bitcoin, because if they go under, your Bitcoin's gone. So 5% a year might sound like a good return, but if all of a sudden 100% of your Bitcoin is gone that you had on deposit with them, it's not so good. So we have to be very, very careful with that brief dance. And we'll look into all that. Rolex steel prices are crazy high. I even contemplate trading my Pepsi for gold Patek Calatrava. Wow, that's amazing. That's just amazing. Yeah. Personally, I would get the 002 before I would get the Calatrava, because I want something that's bulletproof, reliable, that isn't going to give me any trouble and isn't going to be, a service nightmare. So, and I think this is a better looking watch. We've compared it on the show to the Calatravas. I think the case design is nicer. I like the fact that it comes with the deployant clasp. That's not an extra cost thing. I love the spring drive, the durability and the accuracy of the spring drive. So that would be my choice. I would sell the Pepsi and get one of these. I think you could do that. That would be a good move. You would love it. Love it. Kyle's in the house. John, I would only buy that watch if you're in love with it. They are nice pieces, but not sure you can flip it quickly for cash if that is your plan. Yeah, I wouldn't buy a Calatrava to resell. Yeah, I agree with that. First of all, I don't agree with buying and selling watches anyway. I would try to get one that you like. Now, obviously, I've done this. I mean, sometimes you get a watch you just don't like and you have to end up selling it. But the best plan is to just get one that you really like and then keep it. My two watches now, I'm tickled pink with them. The only reason I would sell the 231 Stunner is if I decide to go to a one watch rotation and just wear the 002 all the time. I've toyed with that idea here on the channel, and I haven't done it. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy either way, right? I would not be unhappy if I was forced to wear the 002 all the time. I could get through that kind of drudgery. So yeah, but yeah, I'm tickled pink with both of my watches. I mean, they're just stellar. I mean, that 231, I could make a legit argument that that's the coolest sport watch ever conceived by man, and for a whole lot of reasons. So, and so I can make the same argument with regard to the 002 as a dress watch. So now some people might not agree with me, but I can certainly make a decent argument for both of those watches. And a whole bunch of people have agreed with me. So, let's see. Could you give me some advice on a full gold blue Submariner, please? I love them. If you can get one in good shape that doesn't have a bunch of bracelet stretch, I think it's a great alternative. I think that or Date 8 are probably the two coolest. Actually, the coolest sport Rolex, I think, is an all gold GMT, but they're very hard to find. An all gold GMT Master with a Jubilee bracelet, all gold, that is killer. That is absolutely killer. But a sub, an all gold sub, whether it be the blue or the black dial, I think are cool. Super cool. Not the super case though. Not the newer super case. I would pass on that. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Oh, I think I just skipped forward here. Okay, here we go. The things just jumped on me. Okay, so Craig, what do you think about the Heuer Monaco Caliber 11? Not really familiar with it, but I just don't see a reason to go that way. I like to stick with Rolex, Omega, Grand Seiko. That's kind of my products of choice. I don't see any need to go broader scope than that. Let's see. Corey Wilson James just got kicked out of Paul Thorpe's stream again. Okay. All right. It happens. Number one for the Datejust 36 fluted bezel and Jubilee bracelet. It's the quintessential Rolex iconic, instantly recognizable. Well, and very comfortable on wrist, very practical. Depending on the dial you get, legible, thin on the wrist, can be worn for dress or sport. Two things on me are 7.5 inches. My wrist. There you go. Craig, I have to buy a new suit soon for an event and can't decide if I should get a single or double breasted. Which one do you think is better? Well, I mean, what are you going to get? I mean, if you're going to get a high end, something high end, a lot of people like the double breasted. It's pretty classy looking. I just thought they always were kind of awkward. I had one time. I don't have any now. I just thought they were all a little bit awkward functionally. So I would probably just go with a fairly conventional suit, something nice. Are you going to have something made to measure or what are you going to do? I mean, it's been so long since I bought a suit. So I don't know really what the best way to go is. I guess you could have Oxford make you a nice suit. They would still do that in this day and age. But a lot of the new styles, I would stay away from that. I'd get something more classic style because you don't want something that is going to look good this year and then in 2 or 3 years is going to look silly. I'd get a fairly classic design so that you can wear the same suit for 40 freaking years. That's what I did. That's what I do. I actually like the Palm dial Datejust they just came out with recently. I have to admit it. I think it's kind of cool. I almost want to buy one and I don't need it. Okay. Yeah, it probably is nice. I think I have seen one of those. I think they are nice. I don't understand people asking if they should buy something. It's already a major giveaway. The person in question shouldn't be buying anything or should look into the reason they want to buy it at all. Well, I think that discussing this sort of thing and getting advice and kicking it around, I mean, I went back and forth on buying the 002 Stunner. We talked about it quite a bit here on the channel. I looked at other possibilities, Vacheron, Pateks, different watches, and finally came to the conclusion that I wanted to buy this Stunner, and I wanted to go look at it, and then I finally looked at it and made the move. I think when you're spending that kind of money, you should measure 7 times and cut once. So I don't see any problem with people getting advice. It's a big purchase, right? But yeah, you should end up getting something that you really like at the end of the day. It should be something that every time you look at it on your wrist, you're like, wow, this is amazing. That should be the case because it's a big expenditure. And if you're going to be wearing it, it's actually going to be on your wrist. Why would you want something that is marginal on your wrist? Why would you do that to yourself? So, yeah. Let's see what else we got going on here. Double-breasted, here we go. Double-breasted suits have really gone out of style. I still think they look fine, but single-breasted have always maintained their style through the ages. Yeah, and I wouldn't be that concerned with it being in or out of style. If you get a fairly classic design as far as the double-breasted suit, it would be okay. It would be appropriate in any situation. I just always didn't like the way they felt, the way they worked, and the way they buttoned, and it just seemed funky to me. I guess maybe because it was foreign to me. I just wasn't used to it. But I just, from a functional standpoint, I wasn't a big fan of them. Same thing with three-piece suits. I have a couple of them, but I almost never wear them. And also, it's not that cold here. If I was in Chicago, yeah, maybe I'd have a bunch of three-piece suits, right? But it doesn't get that cold here in the winter, so it's like sometimes you're overheating if you're wearing a three-piece suit all the time. Let's see. Get a single. Yeah, there you go. Double is for confident guys who won't ask. There you go. Um, you're right that they're not as common as they once were, but I think it would really stand out and look classy. Oh yeah, it would if you get the right one. If you get the right one, it would, but the right suit would too. Durs in the house, with the way that Patek Calatrava sell, they should have gave you the Calatrava and 13K cash for your Pepsi. There you go. And Rocky Raccoon, there's only one steel Rolex to shoot for nowadays, and that's the Yachtmaster 40. Functional and elegant, not contaminated by thickness of the maxi case like the Sub, bred with the Daytona. Yeah, it's a beauty. Absolutely, it's a beauty. And they're not quite as hyped as some of the other watches. The Yachtmaster, we've talked about it on the channel here a couple times. It's a stunner. The only thing I don't really like about it is those polished center links. They're scratch magnets, but I can live with that because the rest of it is so stunning. I love my Calatrava, and I'm 98% sure that it will be with me forever. There you go. That's right. Buy the watch to keep and wear. That's right. I think most people who buy a Calatrava keep them for life because they don't want to end up selling it for 5% of what they pay for it. I don't think they lose that much value. I think somebody's exaggerating a little bit on that. Refit dances in the house. What do you think of vlogs? Should I vlog some videos? What is a vlog? I, I don't know what a vlog is. So there you go. I'm not hip. A vlog. Okay. We'll have to figure that out. CraigShipp.com. Thanks for the advice. I'm definitely going to get something classic. The big trend now is slim fit, but personally, I hate the way it looks. I'll probably get a regular fit. Yeah, absolutely. Because you're in shape anyway. You've got a good silhouette. So you'll look good in any nice suit, I think. And Bree says, good choice, Lance. And thanks, Bree. Okay. Vlog, haha. Okay. Tim in the house. I still have my double-breasted suit from when I first started work in the 90s, but no one is wearing them these days. Well, almost nobody wears suits these days. So there's that. At Lance, if you go with a regular fit suit, 2-button with peak or notch lapels, 3 to 3.5 inches and double vent, you'll be set. A classic that will never go out of style. Yeah, I don't think I would do the peak lapels. I would do a fairly conservative notched lapel. Yeah, that's what I would do. Let's look at let's see if we can pull up a suit. A suit. Hold on one second here. I don't like the way everything's so dark on these pictures, but anyway, there's an Oxford suit, I think. let's go through a couple of these pictures. Okay. Yeah, that's an Oxford suit. Oxford. I was just showing you could wear cowboy boots with them, some of these pictures. But yeah, French cuffs, nice Oxford suit. And the shirt makes a big difference. You want a shirt, you know, French cuffs like that. Okay. So anyway, you can find those pictures. Go to my Flickr and search Oxford, OXXFORD, and take a look see. And also you'll find a whole set of clothing pictures on my Flickr. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Vlog is a blog, but through video. Okay. Yeah, but how do you do it? I mean, I don't know how you do that. Because I mean, you know, you could call YouTube a vlog, right? So, you know, like a blog stands for web log, like a log of content, right? That's what a blog is. So a vlog could basically be that, but with videos. But how would you do that? I mean, that's kind of what YouTube is, right? So anyway, I don't know what the distinction is there. Let's see. Oh, vlog is basically taking a camera about your daily life activities. Oh, okay, that type of thing. Yeah, well, that's vlogging. Yeah, but I don't. Do they really call that vlog, or they call that vlogging? I think those. I thought those were two different things. But yeah, a lot of people are doing that. Let's see. I'll look into it. I'm going to keep this suit for a long time, so I want something timeless. There you go. I have 4 suits and 10 sport coats. By the way, Lance, I would not hesitate if you can find out what your size is. I would not hesitate to do some searches on eBay and find some really high-end suits at a great price that fit you close enough. They'll give you all the measurements and all, and then take that suit to a good tailor and just have them do any alterations and so on. You're going to save a bunch of money, and you're going to get a much better suit probably than buying something new, because a lot of the new makers are no longer even based in the US, and they're not the quality that they used to be, even if they still are. So you know, get some suits made by like Walter Morton, by Oxford, by Hickey Freeman, by H. Freeman and Sons. I have all the brands. Let me find this. Okay, so what you want to do, let's see if this will load in. Here we go. Go to my my Flickr and find this album, Quality Clothing Brands and Accessories. Okay, so if you search and you find any of those coats or whatever it is, and then you'll go to where it says albums down below. Those, you can click and you can go to this album, and there's 449 photos in there, and these are all different brands. So you can figure out what to search for, right? And then when you find it, like Corbin made a lot of stuff for the Georgetown University shop, and they also made a lot of stuff for other high-end men's clothing stores, right? So if you find a suit made by Corbin in your size, you know, made in USA, it's probably going to be a pretty good suit. And so, and you want to find one that's in mint condition, if possible, one that's been super well cared for, and just continue that tradition of care, right? And so all the brands are here, including the Bill's khakis, right? Burberry's, all these things, they're all in this set. all different kinds of clothing. And so all you do is you find the good stuff, and then you just go on eBay and do a search for that particular brand in your size, save that search, because you might not find anything initially. Save that search, and then you're going to get an email from eBay anytime somebody lists something that matches that criteria. That's all you got to do. It's not a big deal. Where are we at on the comments here? Let's see. Ultraman Red. I have 4 suits and 10 sport coats. Only wear them at closings. There you go. Dur's in the house. In the last 5 years, I've gone to many watch events with several hundred people in attendance, and most wearing suits, especially for the cocktail parties. In all honesty, I don't recall seeing one double-breasted. Okay, got you. Can't today, maybe next show. Okay. Let's see. Lance, I can recommend an Italian Canale suit, very comfortable. Okay. Yeah, I didn't go for any of the Italian stuff. I liked all of the US manufacturers, but yeah, some of the Italian stuff might be good. Let's see here. They were more stylish and, more trendy, and I tried to stay with the conservative stuff. Okay, Carlos, are you calling into the show today? That's a good question. The same as a blog except on video. Okay. Let's see here. Tim, can you call in if Carlos can't? Heart Shafter Marks, that's correct. Heart Shafter Marks, that's a good move. They're all in there. They're all in my section there. Watch market crashing in general. Just the overhyped stuff, I think, will. Let's see. Vlogging just means your stalker doesn't have to leave the house. Okay. Derek, I've just woken up, still in bed. I wouldn't look my best. 7:30 a.m. here. Okay. Craig, would you rather wear a Tudor or date Nancy Pelosi? Oh my gosh. Well, Nancy actually has some money, so under the right circumstances, I'd probably go on a date with her rather than mess with the Tudor. Yeah. Tim, I'm familiar with the brand. They seem very comfortable and well made. There's in the house. There is a suit stores / tailor by me, and they just made custom suits for Matt Damon and Ray Liotta for upcoming movies. Check out Mano Clothing and Tailoring on Facebook. I wonder if they did those like little boy jackets that are real short and real tight for them that look real goofy. I wonder if that's what they made for them for the movie. Like some of the suits in some of the recent Bond movies. Oh my God. James Bond used to always be so well dressed, and some of those recent suits are just ridiculous. An Italian suit better than a Jewish suit, Craig. I don't know if there's not that many Jewish suit makers, but maybe. Tim, we are family here. Lance does not care that you just woke up. Craig and Carlos don't care either. Okay, so if anybody's going to come in, I'm going to put the link in here because I'm not going to broadcast that much longer, but I'm going to put the link in the chat in case anybody wants to come in. Join link. Okay. And put that in there just in case. All right. Craig, can you rate the Bond actors best to worst? Kyle in the house. Well, I think Sean Connery, there's no question. Yeah, he was the best. I think Pierce Brosnan probably after him. And then the rest, are kind of all jumbled together. No real standouts. I think that's the way I would see it. Okay, they have pics on their Facebook page with the actors as well as some of the costume suits they made for them. I think they might be for mobster gangster movies or something. Okay, so then they probably look pretty decent. Most of the gangsters dressed pretty good. Ladies with money, Craig is gigolo. Yeah, yeah, go for the money. Yeah. Um, am I crazy for loving Tudor? Oh my God! Please sell those Tudors, and please don't be seen out in public with one. Connery, then who I liked. Timothy Dalton was okay, but I think Pierce Brosnan. I think I would probably pick him after Connery. Daniel Craig is the best. Sean Connery is the romantic choice. Yeah, again, Daniel Craig. I think a lot of, especially in his recent stuff, I don't particularly like the way he dressed and stuff. I mean, but yeah, Roger Moore was my favorite. I really don't like Daniel Craig either. Yeah, Roger Moore would probably be number 3 for me. Yeah, something number 3 or 4, somewhere in there. Yeah, I thought Pierce was a great Bond. Yeah, I thought he was too. Um, Roger Moore was terrible. Somebody said. Um, yeah, I prefer Brosnan to Craig for sure. Brosnan movies were really bad though. Yeah, but that wasn't his fault. um, Connery and Brosnan. Then okay, all right. It looks like we got Carlos coming in the house.
Hello, Craig. How are you?
Hello, hello. So it looks like you're out for a walk.
Yeah, I am. I'm doing that. Yeah.
Did you ever order any shoes?
Any shoes? No, definitely no.
Because
No,
you
I
should
think.
order a pair. You should order a pair from Russell Moccasin Company just to give them a try. They're
Yeah,
not that expensive.
I think that I am fine. I am fine with the. I am trying different brands. Now I am trying ones that are called Brooks. But yeah, seems good. Seems good. Seems durable. And yeah, I am happy with them so far.
Yeah. So how many miles are you walking every day now?
Uh, I just came from Spain on last Sunday, and we are having a lot of rain here. Then I am walking less, but usually I will say, or my objective is to walk around, I would say, 15 miles per day, 10, minimum 10, yeah, between 10 and 20, yeah.
Wait a minute now. 10 and 20 miles?
Yeah, about that, yeah,
Wow, that's pretty good.
yeah.
That's impressive.
Uh,
Ultraman Red says Sean Connery and then Brosnan and then more for the James Bonds. And we got another comment. Grand Seiko Spring Drive thoughts, loving the accuracy. Spring Drive is both of my watches are Spring Drive. My 002 Stunner, which is on wrist right now, and the 231 that's on the bench. They're both Spring Drive, and I love them. I love them both. They're accurate. They just keep running, and it's extremely robust. It's an extremely robust movement that should last decades without needing any kind of servicing. So, what's not to like? Now, some of them are a little bit thicker than they really need to be, in my opinion. Um, oh my God, Tudor on the channel. But my 002 is nice and trim at about 10 millimeters thick because it's a manual wind. So you can get some spring drive watches from Grand Seiko that are not overly thick. So depending on your taste, they have something that might meet your needs. Kyle says, I was saying that I don't like Roger Moore. I think his movies were the worst, actually. Daniel Craig movies are better than Brosnan movies, but I see him as a Bond for some reason. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not talking about the quality of the movies. We're just talking about the Bond character. Yeah. Uh, Hi, Carlos. It's a bit cloudy there. Is it getting ready to storm on you?
we just had a storm before, but more than a storm, we are having like a kind of a cold front, cold between quotes. This is something that usually happens here.
Hmm.
Like 1 week before, there is a hurricane in the Caribbean. But yeah,
Okay.
it's cloudy. We usually here it's very common to have a daily storm on the wet season. That is when we are now. but not raining that long during the day as it is raining in the last 3 or 4 days.
And somebody, Durr says, I think he meant he's surprised they don't switch the Bond watch brand over to Tudor since they have some butch black lesbian girl taking over as 007. Oh God. Oh God. Here we go with the political correctness stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll pass on that. We shouldn't forget David Niven. Oh, was he actually a Bond character? I didn't remember him as a Bond.
I don't
Uh,
remember.
Tim's in the house. Carlos, if you walk too far, you might get lost. Have you ever gotten lost walking?
Uh, Most of the time, I walk around my neighborhood doing like the same circuit multiple times.
And so you would probably only get lost if you'd had a few drinks or something.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah, a
definitely.
few libations.
Uh,
Okay. Lance is in the house. For me, it's Sean Connery, Moore, Brosnan, and then Craig. Okay. And
mhm.
Durr says, I'm surprised they don't have Tudor as the new Bond watch brand since. Oh, okay. I already read that. All right. Kyle, I wish Dalton got more films. Underrated Bond. It was a needed departure from the campy Moore era. Yeah, he wasn't terrible. Dalton wasn't terrible. Rocket Raccoon. Anybody who can watch David Niven in Casino Royale from start to finish deserves a free platinum day date. Okay. Um, Ultraman Red, my Spring Drive Seiko Prospect LX. I wore more than I. You wear more than the Rolex. My wrists are almost 8 inches, and the Seiko looks better on me. It has more wrist presence. Yeah, the Prospex LX. I mean, that's an amazing piece. Yeah, that's a talk about a tool watch. That's a heavy duty piece. So yeah. Um, all right. So have you already made your hotel reservations for the big event that's coming up?
Yes, I did. I haven't purchased the plane tickets yet. I assume I will purchase them maybe tomorrow or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I reserved on the hotel that was suggested by Steve that is very close to the place.
Okay.
Because yeah, I have a close friend that is currently this time at 50 minutes away from Little Treasury, but I think that I prefer to spend the night at the hotel, and maybe I will be with them on Saturday. Excuse me, on Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 All right. And so you didn't have any problem getting a reservation?
No, no. Steve
Okay.
told me the hotel. I checked. I used to reserve with Expedia. They have a good rate, in my opinion. And yeah, I got it. And I also have a reservation for the flight that I have to pay. The thing is, I have several vouchers from last year about flights that I had to cancel, and it's a mess to convert those vouchers to purchase the tickets, and I will be doing on a physical office, not online or by the phone.
And Sam says my Tudor Pelagos is better than a sub. Yeah, I would pass on Tudor. I would definitely get rid of that, and hopefully Carlos will be able to find somebody to pawn his Tudor off on. Although I do like, I I'll tell you right now, I do like the fact that it's silver. I think that's kind of cool. Um,
Yeah.
and I like the lugs. I like the case on that better than I like a super case. I think it's a better looking case than the super case. But that hour hand, I can't get past that hour hand. That is ugly. Why didn't they just put a
Well,
Mercedes hand on there? I'll tell you why they didn't put the Mercedes hand on there. It's because they want people to buy the Rolex They always try to dumb down the tutors, and that's what pisses me off about them. For no
Well,
real reason, they always try to screw up the tutor, and they've always been that way. It's always been a redheaded stepchild
yeah.
to Rolex.
Honestly, I do not care. I understand that our hand looks very weird, especially on a macro photo. At least with my site, using it daily is perfect. No
Well, you
issue
can
at all.
see it, you can read it and all that, but they made the hour hand ugly for what reason? For God knows what reason. I mean, here's the thing.
Well,
If you buy a Toyota, let me give you an analogy here. If you go and you buy a mid-grade Toyota Camry, something like that, you get a really good car. It's a good-looking car. Now, some of the styling decisions on Toyota and Lexus lately are not that great, but let's go back 10 years in time. And you buy a Corolla, it was a nice car. You buy a Lexus, it was also a nice car, but they didn't take something on the Corolla and make it questionable just to screw with you. I mean, the Toyota Corolla is a great car. The Toyota Camry is a great car. A Lexus is a great car. I can't say the same thing about the Tudors.
hmm
They're a second class redheaded stepchild to the Rolex,
uh-huh.
and that's just not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I understand your point. In fact, honestly, I've never had any kind of desire for a Tudor. But once I saw this one, I really like it, and it's the only one that I had some no, a lot of desire to get it, a lot of desire to get it. Uh, it coincided with a time that I had some money that I didn't want to dilute in the account and to have a kind of thing to remember, and yeah, it's great for me.
Yeah, well, and Sam says, and it's full titanium, his tutor. But I think some of the tutors that are titanium, they're not grade 5 titanium. They're the titanium that scratches real easily and looks lousy. So they even picked a lousy alloy for the titanium. They just made a lot of bad decisions with tutors. And Sam is saying, and the new Supra, LOL. Well, yeah, the Supra is more or less a BMW, really. So no, I like the Toyotas from, let's say, 10 years back. We'll go with those, and we'll skip some of the newer stuff on both Lexus and Toyota side. Fortunately, the Toyotas and Lexus last so well that you can buy a 10-year-old one with real low mileage, and it's good to go.
And
Let's
Craig,
see, Rock
regarding the event,
Raccoon.
excuse me, regarding the event, do you have the idea about what is the schedule? What is the state plan for that?
I don't yet. I don't have the details from Steve on that yet. I'm going to try to press him to get him to join us in a show next week to really get into the details on that, because every time I call him to try to talk to him about it, he's busy. I can't talk right now. I'm up to my elbows in alligators, all this stuff. And he hasn't done a show for God knows how long. And so I'm going to try to press him into doing a show, and so that we can pin him down and we can try to get the skinny on all that, because it's going to be here pretty quick. We're almost in September
Yeah,
already. So
yeah,
it's coming up. So I'm going to try to press him next week to get more details.
yeah. Because I think that it seems that we are attending several, or at least some people from the channel, and maybe we can prepare to do some kind of visit or tourism out of the event time or something.
Yeah, maybe we can fit something in, but I'll tell you, his events are like, there's always something going on, and it's kind of like, if I go there Friday and I also go there Saturday,
Yeah.
it's like go, 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 go. It's like it's usually not a bunch of extra time to do something. So we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out.
I
Um,
assume I assume the event will be on Friday evening or
No, I think it
afternoon?
starts during the day. I think it starts, in the early afternoon and then goes all the way into the evening. Again, I got to
Uh-huh.
get the details, but I don't think it starts like very late in the afternoon because I remember getting there and having lunch. He had a
Yeah.
nice spread out and everything. But we got to find out. I don't want to speculate. Let's get the details from him, and
I
then we'll
will
try to
be
figure it out.
arriving. I will be arriving to DC. I think at around 3:30 p.m. Then I assume I will be get there about 5 or something like that. But maybe on Saturday morning or something
So
could
you're
be.
going to get. So wait a minute now. You're going to arrive Thursday evening.
No, no. I am arriving Friday. Well, Friday afternoon to DC. Yeah, I assume early evening on Friday I will be on Little Treasury, and I have a reservation for Friday and Saturday on the proposed hotel.
Okay. So you'll probably miss some of the Friday event, but you'll be there for the whole Saturday event.
Hmm. Well, I
Okay.
think that might be enough, and I think the
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
assume the party time will be probably on the evening, and I will try not to miss that. By the way, I don't know. And regarding the Saturday morning, I also think that it depends. If there's people comes, maybe we will have a bigger hangover. Then will be more difficult to to do something on Saturday morning. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll have to figure it all out. For me, the priority is his event and generating
Uh-huh.
some content from it. And now if I can fit something else in also, then we'll try to figure that out. But the main priority is the event, both Friday and Saturday. At least as
Uh-huh.
of now, I'm planning on being there both days. Um,
Uh-huh.
so, okay, let me get caught up. Steve needs to do a show again. Been too long. Yes, I agree. And Kyle says, Boozer, Rich, Cheetown, Leslie, and I are taking the same flight out to LA. Can you make sure you're on the list, on his VIP list? Make sure you email Steve at littletreasury.com. Give him all the names. Make sure that he knows all of you guys are coming.
By the way, I will be also in LA on early November. Maybe
And
we can meet
okay,
again
yeah,
in LA.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Okay, so Kyle also, um, make sure, are you guys staying at the same hotel as Carlos? Because that'd be cool if you guys are at the same hotel as Carlos. Um, so coordinate on all
Steve
that.
told me. Steve told me today about another Rent Gang member, but they are not. I don't know if they have already got the hotel or whatever.
Yeah. So Durr, yeah, you should definitely come into town. I think you enjoyed it last time, and I'll have more time to spend with you guys this time because I'm going to be a little more organized than last time. And we're going to do a live show definitely from the event. I'll hammer that out. Maybe both days. We'll do like a 1 hour live stream from there or something, and everybody can participate. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully you can make it. Email Steve, and he'll give you the information on the hotel that Carlos is staying at and everything. So hopefully you guys can all be at the same hotel. That'll just make things a lot easier.
By the
Let's
way, I
see.
think that is the only one that is quite close to the event. In my, it seems. It seems that there
Yeah.
are not a lot of
Yeah,
options
so get the
close.
rooms while you can, guys. Get the rooms before it gets booked up.
Yeah.
Um, are
Anyway,
there
it
any
seems that
cigar
the Steve
bars near Steve's store? I think there is a cigar place near his store, but don't quote me on it. We'll try to get that information from Steve.
I've got my room through Expedia, but the Steve
Mhm.
told me that he has some rooms reserved. Maybe would be an option. Uh,
Okay. Okay. So he just got back today, I think. Okay, so Brett just got back. Is Brett going to come to the event? I hope. I hope he can come and bring his gold stunner with him. And Dur, if you come, I hope to goodness you're going to be wearing your date 8 and your faux pay. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
you should come. You should come. We will have a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah. And
You know.
okay, somebody made the last comment about Tudor and he said I didn't read it. Well, I put up on the screen, somebody said that you don't need a macro lens to see how ugly the hour hand is, if that's what you're talking about. I don't have to read all of these. Some of them I put them up on the screen. But I will tell you that I do like the case shape, and I do like the fact that his is silver. I think that's kind of cool. But the hour hand is a deal breaker for me. He spent the whole lockdown in Mexico. LOL, that would be awesome. Okay. He sold the gold Datejust. Oh my God. Oh my God. How much did he get for it? Kyle, do tell. How much did he get for the Datejust? Wow. That's amazing. Okay. Let's see. I got one more comment here. Off the topic of Tudor, for perspective, I'd rather spend $1,500 on a solid 18 karat gold lawn jeans 34 millimeter dress watch with a good ETA 284 quartz any day over Tudor. The value proposition just isn't there. Well, yeah, I think that lawn jeans, 18 karat gold lawn jeans, would be a good move. Absolutely. And Lance has sent us several 18 karat gold stunners that could be had for very reasonable prices here recently. The 18 karat, some of these 18 karat gold stunners are really overlooked, in my opinion. Craig, just realized that the SPGY 002 at the Beverly Hills Boutique has been held by almost every major wrench gang member. Whoa. Okay. Cool. It's a select group that have had one of those in their hand in person. A select group. Carlos has had mine in his hand, I think. Did you hold my 002?
Yes,
Carlos?
I hold both. I hold both yours and the Beverly Hills one.
Well, there you go. He's probably one of the few that has actually held two 002s.
Yeah.
You might be one of the few people in the world that have held two different 002s.
Yeah, I feel so privileged, so honored.
Yeah. And so Kyle says he kept going back and forth from here to Mexico and also hit El Salvador and Costa Rica a few times. He went to Bitcoin Beach. Oh, cool. Well, I want to get a full report from him. Can we set it up? Can he come on the show with you guys sometime next week? I need a full report. He sold it for 18 or 19, I think, bought it for 16 and wore it for a year. Well, hey, if he made money and he wore it for a year, I can't fault him. I can't fault him for doing that. Carlos handled it too. Oh, so you held the 18 karat gold Datejust?
No, I assume that Kyle means the 002.
Okay.
The Beverly Hills 002, I think.
Okay. All right. And Carlos is the only person to handle both. Okay. So far, but when you guys come to the event, you'll be able to handle this one, and so there'll be a bunch of people that have handled both.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, 002 has all our DNA. I wonder who bought it. Did it sell? Did it actually sell? The one in California? Okay, so here's the thing, though, Carlos. I should have in about 2 weeks or so, maybe a little more than 2 weeks. I'll have the bespoke signet ring that I'm having made in 18 karat gold. I'm having a specially designed signet ring made, and it is going to have the Bitcoin logo on it. Okay. I know you're not a Bitcoiner yet, but you will be. And I am trying to get the gentleman who's making it for me to make them available in platinum, white gold, silver, and yellow, 18 karat yellow gold. And so I'll be getting pricing on all that. The guy is really good. This guy is really good that I'm having make this. And
Yeah.
so I'll have more information as everything develops, and hopefully I'll have the ring in time to wear it to the event so
Oh,
everybody can
great.
see it.
That
But
really.
we're going to have our own bespoke numbered series of signet rings in order to, you know, verify that somebody's really who they're supposed to be. This
Yeah.
is going to be the only way to get absolute verification is if the person has a numbered ring. And if they don't want to spend much money, they can just get the silver one,
Mm,
sterling silver one. But, I recommend getting the 18 karat yellow gold, of course. So anyway, I'll keep you guys posted on that.
yeah.
And we're also going
Well,
to have a special ring available for the ladies. We're working on that. We should have an example of that coming in about another week or two as well. So we'll have the man's version and the ladies' version. So we'll be able to have verification for either sex.
hmm
So
well,
that's what we're working on.
well, I will say, the thing in Spain for men, let's say that there is no big tradition about wearing a lot of jewelry. The only thing that I have is my wedding band,
Mm-hmm.
and but maybe as a souvenir, having the silver one or whatever, maybe we will see.
Well, I think that a signet ring, though, is the one thing that a man can wear, without pushing the envelope too far. I think me wearing the faux pay bracelet is pushing it a little bit, right? But I think a signet ring is very classy. A lot of people, you know, over the eons, over the thousands of years, it's been a thing.
Yeah,
And so I think we're
yeah.
okay with that. I got a couple of comments here. Boozer says, "Wasn't Steve supposed to make those?" I have talked to Steve. He's supposed to be looking into it, but he's been kind of dragging his heels. And I wanted to move on it. I wanted to have something ready for the party. So that's why I've independently contracted a bespoke maker out of Oregon on the West Coast to make one to my design. Durr's in the house. Wrench Gang rings might sell better than Bitcoin rings amongst the group. Yeah, but see, it's too limited. The Wrench Gang, if it was just strictly a Wrench Gang ring, then only Wrench Gang members would want it. This way, if somebody's a Bitcoiner and they want to join the clique, they can join it. It makes it a little broader. And also, I'm convinced that every Wrench Gang member in time will become a Bitcoiner. I know Durr has been very hesitant to become a Bitcoiner, and I know Carlos has been very hesitant. But I think that as the years go by and this thing continues to grow and this thing continues to represent freedom around the world, financial freedom, and it does so many good things around the world, I think that all of the Wrench Gang members will become Bitcoiners. And so that problem will be solved with time. Derek says, "What's on the ring?" It's going to have a Bitcoin logo on it, similar to the one I'm wearing now. This is silver. It's going to have a Bitcoin logo, and it's also going to be numbered. They're all going to be numbered. So the numbers are going to be first come, first grab. Kyle's already spoken for number 0. I'm going to have number 1, ring number 1, and people can reserve the number. They just need to email me and let me know what number they want, and I'll put them down on the list to reserve the number. And when the time comes, they'll either go ahead and get the ring, and they're going to be pretty reasonably priced compared to what's out there. I've done extensive research on this, and this guy is reasonably priced for bespoke, high quality ring. I mean, this isn't some junk, Chinese made ring. This is a bespoke, high quality ring. His prices are actually very reasonable. It's going to be, I hate to give a number right now because we're still working out all the details, but I'm thinking it's going to be around $1,000. And for an 18 karat gold signet ring, bespoke ring, this size, and so on these specs, that is a very good price. So anyway, it's going to be, I think it's going to be awesome. We'll see more details as everything progresses. Boozers in the house. Craig, what was the halving? I remember you and Carlos did live coverage, but I didn't understand what was going on at the time. The halving for Bitcoin is every 4 years, the number of Bitcoins that are issued to the miners every 10 minutes is cut in half. Right now, it is, I believe, 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes is produced, and it's a reward to a miner who wins the contest every 10 minutes. He gets those Bitcoin. That's the blockchain reward for the miners. Every 4 years, the rate of that is cut in half. So instead of being 6.25, it'll be 3.125, I guess is the math. And so that happens every 4 years. So it's a dwindling supply of Bitcoin that are created every 4 years. And then eventually it gets to where it's down to zero, and they top out at 21 million total Bitcoin ever produced. And that's going to be in about the year 2140. So that's the halving cycle. And you can Google it and learn more. And I've got a page on my website. If you go to CraigShipp.com, pull down the menu, click on Bitcoin, and I've got a whole page on Bitcoin that goes into excruciating detail about Bitcoin. I will buy some Bitcoin. I just really don't understand how to do it. It just seems too complicated. It's getting easier all the time, Dur. And that is, hey, this is the same thing with the internet. People said the same thing about the internet when it first started. It was complicated. It was hard to use. It was slow. It was all these things, right? Bitcoin's the same thing. In the early days, and I think we're still in early days right now, it's got a lot of improvement ahead of it. It's got a lot of things that need to be, rough edges need to be smoothed out, right? But we can talk about it, and I can help you get your first Bitcoin. I'll give you some of your first Bitcoin. If you don't already have it, I'll give you some at the party. Boozer's in the house. Craig, did you hear that OnlyFans is banning nudity? It's because of bullying from Visa, MasterCard. If they took Bitcoin, there would not be a problem. Yes, that's correct. It is actually very easy. Start a Coinbase account and move money from your checking account. In Coinbase Pro, the funds are available immediately. Just select buy BTC, and that's it. Yeah, it's not terribly difficult, but for people that aren't familiar with all that stuff, it can be a little bit strange. The Strike app, it is spelled. Let me see. If you're not buying huge amounts, it's Strike, STRIKE. Is an app by Jack Mallers, and they have the lowest fees. So if you actually want to buy some Bitcoin and you're not buying a ton, they have limits on how much you can buy each week. The fees are the lowest. They're lower than Coinbase. So I do recommend getting a Strike app to buy Bitcoin these days because the fees are the lowest. Let's see here. You can then move it to a wallet if you want later on. Yes, you can get like a Blue Wallet or something. You can get a blockchain wallet where you can actually have your own private keys, and you can move it from Coinbase to that, and that way you can have it secured with your own private keys. But we can. It's a journey. You don't learn about Bitcoin in one day. You have to. You have to slowly but surely learn about it. And I think the more you learn about it, the more amazing it will be. It's just like the internet itself. The more you learn about the internet, the more amazing it is. It's just the same thing. We can show you when we get to Steve's event. Yes. Buying Bitcoin is easier than buying stocks. Yeah, it can be. And yeah, once you get used to all of it, it's pretty cool. I won't be buying a full coin for 49K, but I will put some money into some coin. So I have to pay fees as well. Are these one-time fees or monthly fees? Okay, so if you use the Strike app, uh, feel free to call me, Dur, and we can talk about it offline. But I would recommend that you get the Strike app and just buy like $200 worth, just get your feet wet. Um, and the fees are pretty much nothing. It's nothing. You don't have to worry about it. On Coinbase, it's maybe a 1 or 2% fee or something. It's not a cheap fee. It's their fees used to be pretty low, but in my opinion, they've gotten pretty high lately. So I would probably just use the Strike app and buy some with that right now if I were just getting started. You will not have to pay fees. And as far as it being a monthly fee, no, it's just a buying fee. It's just a one-time fee. Now, every time you move Bitcoin from one location to another, there's a small fee doing that. So you don't want to move it a whole bunch of times if you don't have to. If you buy it on Strike, you can just leave it on Strike. If you're just talking about a couple $100 worth, just leave it on Strike, and then you're not going to have any fees. Craig, have you ever mined? No, I didn't. My buddy wanted me, my buddy from Canada that introduced me to it back in 2011, he wanted me to mine some, but I just didn't want to go to the hassle and figure it all out and all that. It was a little bit more daunting back then to do that sort of thing. And now it's it's pretty much impossible for an individual to be a competitive miner. But back in the day, I could have done it if I'd have taken the initiative to do it. But no, I didn't, unfortunately. I'd probably have a lot more Bitcoin than I have now if I'd mined a bunch of it. Craig, in the future, will people look at today's prices the way we currently look back at 4Pay? Yes, it's still cheap. It's still early days. Only about 1% of the people are into Bitcoin. We've still got 99% to go. We haven't even scratched the surface yet, in my opinion. When I first bought BTC, they accepted credit cards, so my points mileage would cancel out the fees. Can't do that anymore, though. Darn. Okay. So if I buy it on Strike or Coinbase, what would be the purpose of moving it to a wallet? If moving it to a wallet, there's a small fee. Okay, so if you move it to, so there's a third party custodying your Bitcoin. Like if you leave it on Coinbase, you're trusting them to hold your Bitcoin, just like if you had your money in a bank. If you move it to a wallet that you are the custodian, that you have the private keys, the secret words, then you are taking custody of the Bitcoin. You are your own bank, right? That's the distinction. It's trusting a third party to hold your Bitcoin. And when it's on Strike, that's a third party. They're holding your Bitcoin. When it's on Coinbase, that's a third party. They're holding your Bitcoin. Now, Strike is talking about making it so you can have your own private keys and it's a non-custody situation, but they haven't done that yet. Strike is a relatively young thing. They just started offering the ability to buy Bitcoin not too long ago, right? It's really a money transferring service. But anyway, I don't want to get into the weeds on that, but it's a question of who's got custody of the Bitcoin. If you want you to have custody of it, then you would want to move it into a wallet that you control the custody. Now, I have a hardware wallet, which is another step up in security, and that's if you have a significant amount of Bitcoin, I would get a hardware wallet, but that's only if you have, let's say 50 Bitcoin or more, something like that. If you have a lot of Bitcoin, I would go with a hardware wallet. Let's see. If it goes to 400K, they certainly will. Let's see. Is Carlos just lost in the jungle? No, he's walking like 10 or 20 miles around his neighborhood. He's unbelievable. He's like a Superman. And he's getting in better shape. He's getting in better shape every day. It's amazing.
Well, I indulged myself a lot on the last month and a half with a lot of friends and dining and eating out every day. Yeah, but now I have to recover a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Tim says, and I'm going to wrap this up. He says, I heard in the news that there was a drug bust and police seized millions in Bitcoin. What will the police do with it? I wonder. Okay, so here's the thing. If the drug dealers didn't have self-custody of the Bitcoin and didn't have their secret words, if you will, secure enough, then yes, the police can seize it. For example, if the drug dealers were stupid enough to leave it on Coinbase, something like that, they can just go to Coinbase, the police, and seize the Bitcoin, right? If you've got it with a third party. But if you have custody of it yourself and you've got those words secure, maybe you memorized them in your brain or something, then they can't get the Bitcoin. And if they do get it, then they do it with anything else that they seize. They end up selling it or keeping it or whatever. The US government has quite a bit of Bitcoin still that they seized from Silk Road. They sold some of it, but they didn't sell all of it. And somebody said they buy donuts. Craig, do you still like BlockFi? Yes, I have some cash deposited with them as a stable coin, about 100,000 or so. And then I've got some Bitcoin deposited with them, maybe 2 or 3 Bitcoin. I lowered it. I had quite a bit more with them, but they lowered their interest rates recently. And they have tiers where the first certain amount of Bitcoin has a higher interest rate, and then it goes down as you have more, which is kind of not good. So I pulled a bunch of Bitcoin off of there, but I still have, I still have about 2 or 3 Bitcoin with them, and then about $100,000 in cash getting interest from them. So I do trust them. Sent 2 stunning Rolex bubble backs. Okay, we're not going to have time to look at that right now. Bitcoin will crash harder than anything we've ever seen. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. So far, everybody that's been predicting the doom of Bitcoin has been wrong. Let's see. Okay, so he said the same thing 3 times. What is Silk Road? It was a place where people could buy and sell things, primarily drugs, on the internet, including all kinds of stuff, right? And the government shut it down and arrested the guy and put him in jail forever. You can Google it. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Well, let's show his watch real quick. All right, here's an old one, bubble back. Yep, and that's all gold. That's kind of neat. Let me get this off the screen so you can see all of it. Yeah, a lot of stretching that bracelet right there at the end. That was a common thing where they kind of stretch up where they meet the solid link. But still, that's kind of a cool watch. Kind of a cool watch that Lance found. All right, I'm having some issues with the laptop right now. I got to get a better mouse for that thing. It's seen its better days. We're gonna have to we're gonna have to wrap this puppy up. So okay, so there we go. All right, so we will see. Time will tell the tale on Bitcoin. So far, all the people, it has been, there's a website that lists all the times that Bitcoin has been pronounced dead. It's been pronounced dead about 300 times by major media over the last 10 years. And so far, they're 300 times wrong. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Carlos, what do you think? Do you think do you think Bitcoin's going to crash to zero?
Well, I still think about that, but the truth is that I thought about that when it's worth 100 times less than now. then so far I am wrong.
Have you ever heard something called the Lindy effect?
The Lindy effect, no, no idea.
It's where they say that the longer something survives, the more likely it's going to survive.
Hmm.
So, like every day that Facebook survives, it's more likely that it's going to survive another day. So it's that's called the Lindy effect. And then
Uh-huh.
of course there's something called a network effect, right? Where things keep growing because people keep telling people about it, and the network just keeps growing. And
Hmm.
so Bitcoin has been doubling every year, and as far as the number of users. Um, and it doesn't show any signs at all. All the metrics show that it's continuing to do that. So I don't know. I don't know what would come along, what black swan event would come along that would kill it, but it's possible. Anything's possible. But all the data shows that it is doing nothing but growing. So, and more billionaires are starting to buy it. So, as billionaires start buying it, I mean, that's serious money coming in now. It's not just the geeks and the early adopters. It's serious money coming in.
Yeah. Well, it's true that, yeah, the first Bitcoin that I purchased was, I would say, 10 years ago or 11 years ago. I think that I purchased it for around $100, and look at it now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's just been growing. So we'll see. We'll see if it can be killed.
Yeah.
And if when I first heard about it, Carlos, I didn't buy it when I first heard about it. I dismissed it out of hand. I said the government is not going to allow this. I said they are going to shut it down. There's no
Yeah.
way the government is going to allow a competing currency, if you will, a way to move money from person to person that they don't control. Why would the government ever allow that? So I said they're going to shut it down. But now the government in the last few years has come out and basically said they're not going to shut it down. So that whole threat looks like it's gone. And then my
Yeah.
second concern, after the government shutting it down, my second concern was a competitor would come along with a better solution.
Yeah.
And
I,
that hasn't happened. There's been about
yeah.
10,000 altcoins that have tried to challenge Bitcoin, and none of them have been able to make a significant challenge. So
Hmm.
it seems like that threat is not legitimate. So the two major threats that I was concerned with seem like they're gone. They're no longer a threat. And so that's why I'm pretty bullish on it at this point. I just don't see the threat out there. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I hope the best for who have Bitcoin. Yeah. For me, it's something. Yeah. I agree with some of the, let's say, of the premises and about the reasons for Bitcoin and about the problem with the fiat currency and that. But from that to consider that Bitcoin has real value, to me, is a too big step, a step too big.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. Time will tell the
Ah,
tale.
definitely.
If it continues to develop and the use cases to continue to develop and people kind of accept it as the default currency for the internet, the electronic currency on the internet, then I think it has a bright future if all those things happen. And, we'll know probably in the next couple years if that's going to happen. This is going to happen pretty quick if it's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely, I would have preferred to have a different point of view 11 or 12 years ago, or when we started to talk about it, that was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, talking with you. But yeah, that is the thing.
Well, and if you're comfortable with your current investments and you're comfortable with your situation, then there's no reason to make a change. I mean, I think that some younger people are looking at this and saying, you know, this is where, you know, this is what I think the future is. I think everything's going to be digital, and I think that, you know, I want to play in that arena. And so I think a lot of the people coming into Bitcoin are the younger folks.
Well,
You know, and of course the billionaires.
mhm.
There's the billionaires, so there's that. All right, I'm going to let you go. Thank you, Carlos. I'm going to wrap this
Thank
up. I'm
you.
getting hungry.
Thank you,
This has
Craig.
been a
And
long
yeah,
one.
looking forward for the event and to plan it. Yeah.
It's going to
And
be fun.
it seems that there are several people going there. I think that we are going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, I think so. I can't wait.
Okay.
I'll see you guys. Thank you. Thank you for calling
Thank
in.
you. Bye bye. Thank you.
I,
Bye bye.